everyone, I am Brittany Clark, and I am back today to bring you another interview as part of our Change the Story campaign. I'm so excited to be sitting next to Representative Tom Dent, who represents Washington's 13th District. Representative Dent has proven to be an enthusiastic advocate for children and families all across our state. He is the ranking member for the Early Learning and Human Services Committee. He sits on the Early Achievers Program Committee and has recently been appointed to sit on the Oversight Board for the new Department of Children, Youth, and Families. For those who aren't familiar, Representative Dent worked tirelessly last year to pass legislation that called for the creation of the Caregiver and Foster Parent Bill of Rights. As a previous foster parent himself, he realizes the importance of respecting foster parents and caregivers in the child welfare system and ensuring that they're all part of the team. So Representative Dent, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, you're most certainly welcome. Thank you for coming in to see me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about who you are and what has made you so passionate about advocating for children and families?
Okay, well, I live in Moses Lake in the 13th District. My career was flying airplanes, and I also have a ranch where I raise beef cows and buffalo. As far as the children's issue, I'm a kid guy. It's just that simple. I like kids, and I like them from the energy they have and the passion they have for life and their innocence. But I also understand that our children are our future, and that's the most important thing we have. And I believe that our children are our most precious natural resource. And so I'm passionate about giving them a start in life and giving them direction so we can count on them to be here for us and our country in the future. And I think that's really important that we do that. I was a foster parent for some time. I'm not any longer, which is where some of these issues came from that I've been working on. I would still be a foster parent had I known these things in the Foster Parent Bill of Rights were in statute when I was a foster parent. I didn't know that, and had I known that, I would still be a foster parent. I didn't know. I didn't have any teeth. I didn't have any way to push back on the Children's Administration, and I felt what was going on there was so wrong. So now that I know that, I can start making some changes to support that. We have a lot of our kids that go into foster care that have had a less than opportune start in life, and I think that's unfortunate. But we don't have to stop there. I think we can step up and we can help them. So we as a state have taken over the parental responsibilities of these children, and I think it's up to us to give them the best chance we can. And that's where I come from with some of the things that I do in the foster parent program. I want to give those kids a chance, and they're deserving of a chance. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you. I know, I work in the foster care community, and I've seen a lot of good things happen from the Bill of Rights so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
good.
excited.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yeah. So you've been appointed, like I said, to the Oversight Board for the new department.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share what your vision is for the board and how you think it might positively impact the fostering community?
Sure. So the bill, which created the new Department of Children, Youth, and Families. Okay, so I was on that bill. It was Representative Ruth Gagey and I worked together tirelessly to make this happen, and we did a lot of negotiation through the process. But the plan, there was a plan with this. We had a reason for doing this, and the reason one is we wanted to put our children's programs together in one department so they were easier to see when they were in the. We had them spread out between Department of Early Learning, Juvenile Rehabilitation, and DSHS. So it wasn't a concise place to see how we were doing. So number one, we wanted to pull them together. Number two, there's a culture. We wanted to change the culture around the children and make it a more positive experience, for our kids, so we'd have better outcomes for our children. So that was the second part of the plan. The third part of the plan, the way I saw it, was to build a partnership with the folks that we work with. So I'll put this in context. Foster care is not Department of Children, Youth, and Families, or previously Children's Administration. That's not who it is. Foster care is the foster parents. They provide the care. And I think it's important that we have that relationship with those people. The department, we give them some guidelines, and I understand those things, you know. We don't want to just turn folks loose, I get that. But by the same token, we have our guidelines, but we need to build that relationship with them. The second thing is Department of Early Learning Programs. That's not Department of Early Learning either, is it? That happens within our children's community centers, you know, care centers. And we need to build those processes, because the people that work at Dell and now in the Department of Youth, you know, Children, Youth, and Families, they're not out there doing the early learning. They're not teaching our kids. It's those child care centers that are doing it. And so we need to recognize the fact that they're the folks that make it all happen. So let's build that partnership and support them. Not be a punitive agency that steps on them or punishes them every time we think they do something wrong, but supports them to be everything that they can be. And that's what I want to see, because that's when it will really happen. So that was behind it. What the Oversight Board will do, and Senator O'Ban and I had a big part in putting that in there, because that's like the 30,000-foot overview of what's going on in the department, so we can keep the department on track, and we can see that we can have the outcomes that we're looking for with the new department.
That's great. So just to follow up, who sits on the Oversight Board as of right now?
Oh, I believe there's 18 members on the Oversight Board.
Oh, wow.
So it is divided up. I mean, there's 4 legislators. So in the House, you know, you have legislate from the Department of the Early Learning and Human Services Committee. There's one from each caucus, so I'm on there, and Representative Tom Dent is on there. In the Senate, the same thing over there. So you have Senator Steve O'Ban and Senator Darnell. They're on it from the Senate. Okay, so there's 4 legislators, and then the rest of it is kind of divided up. We have folks there from with experience, you know, in children's programs, you know, through the departments. We have people from law enforcement is on there, and actually the chief of police in Moses Lake sits on there with me. So and you know, I mean, we have it divided up. We have some folks from the tribes on there, so it's kind of divided up through, you know, different areas of the state. And we're going to expand it. I think like we're going to add 2 more members. I'm going to write legislation to add 2 new members on there too. I think 2 members at large, but. So it's kind of broken up. We have people that have been foster parents, and actually I had put in for someone from your organization to be on there. You know, it didn't happen. We had a lot of folks, and we did a lot of negotiating to put different people on there. And so we have some folks on there from child care centers, and you know, things like that. So people with expertise in children's issues, and that's basically what's on there. Okay.
Well, it's a wide representation, and
it's very wide.
It makes me excited because it's really going to start creating those partnerships that you just talked about.
Absolutely, that's the plan. That is the plan.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
and we're still, and like I say, we, you know, a new department, new legislation, a couple of bumps in the road, a couple of hiccups. Plan on coming back and working on fixing that with legislation to make it. You know, my big thing is I really like it to be fair and balanced across the state. So from Eastern Washington, sometimes we're not represented as equally as I would envision us to be. So one of the things we're going to do is try to expand that so we can have more folks from the rural areas on these kind of type of committees.
That's great. So as a previous foster parent yourself, can you provide some perspective on how important it is for, you know, a foster parent or just anybody to connect with their state representatives?
Well, anybody should connect with the state representative or senators, because, you know, it's our country, it's our state. And so for someone to connect with me, it's so important to hear what the issues are, what your concerns are, you know, whoever you are. That, you know, I need to know what's going on in the lives of people so I can represent that. I can need to know what the concerns are, or if we need to make changes such as the Foster Parent Bill of Rights. I need to know these things so then I can work towards that goal. And number 2, I need help to do this. I just don't come over here and make this all happen. You know, it's hard to do legislation. It takes time to get it through the process, and in order to do that, I need support. I need support. When we have a hearing in one of our committees, I need folks to come and testify on why we need this legislation, to talk from the heart on how important it really is, especially on issues around our children. People need to know what it's about. They need to know how hard it is to do this. You know, foster care is a tough thing, and for those of us that have done it, we know when these children come into our lives, when they walk into our home for the first time, and a caseworker brings them in, can you take care of this child? That child knows that we want them. They know that, or we wouldn't be in the program. They're smart, okay? And immediately they will gravitate to you and connect with you. And of course, it takes them about 3 minutes to steal my heart. But it's so important that I hear from people who have experienced the same things that I have, and how we can make this program better, and how we can build that partnership and be the best for our kids. So, and having a relationship with your state representative, your state legislators, is so important. And not from the fact that you have, the second part of that is you need the relationship before you need them. Because we have during session, there's a steady stream of people that come through this office. And our meetings are limited to 15 minutes for the most part. So we can have however many, 8 or 10 hours, however many 15-minute meetings we can have. That's how many people come through here. Well, most of the people I don't know. So it's hard to remember all the issues and keep up with it. But if you have a relationship with your legislator, when you walk in the door and you know them, then that already gets you way ahead, because you're going to sit down and have a more meaningful conversation. So it's really important that you deal with your legislators and they know who you are, because that really helps to move things along. And then be willing to help them when they need the help. When I call up and say, I need 10 folks to come over and testify, and you show up. Yeah. That's so important, is that you understand the importance of what we're trying to accomplish and the importance of your help in what I'm trying to do. Because without help, then it's just almost impossible for me to accomplish things. So this is also a partnership, the same as we're trying to create with the new department. Okay.
That's great perspective, and I love that advice. Honestly, I think I work with people, and it's all about relationships, and I think that's true for you too and all the other representatives.
Relationships are everything in the legislature. Relationships built on respect, and then we can accomplish things. And relationships aren't necessarily friendships, but they're relationships to where you can work built on respect, and accept the other person's point of view, so we can find that common ground and make things happen that we'd like to, make the changes that we'd like to see. Yeah.
So for our foster parents and caregivers who are watching, do you have any final words or thoughts for them, or any words of hope or inspiration that you might want to share?
Yeah, it's I work hard. We work hard to make things different here. I see the new department as a big, it's a major piece of hope for the future. I see major changes coming with this, and working on building those partnerships and those relationships. I believe that we're on track to make huge changes in our foster parent, our children's programs. I do, but I need those folks to help me. I need the foster parents to help me. And I also need to hear from them on what's working and what isn't. Any issues they have, so we can make a difference, so we can make a change. If I know what your issues are, I can work on them, and we can direct them. Sometimes we can fix things without legislation. Quite often we can, and sometimes it's just through communication with the department, sitting down and having a conversation about, well, this isn't working. How do we fix this? And that's where it's important for folks to check in with us and tell us what's happening in your life with your children, foster kids. And I'm optimistic. I'm an optimist. I truly am an optimist, because I think we can make change for the good. We just have to do it, and that just takes a minute. But I've seen major changes since I've been here. In the 4 years I've been here, I've seen huge changes in our children's things, and which gives me hope. And I'm looking to the future. I just see a bright future, and I want to expand just a little bit. I believe in going upstream. So by that I mean, we have a foster program. So our kids say, we want our kids to be safe, and there's an issue going on in a home, and we know that. So our caseworkers, are checking it out, and And they usually just don't walk in and take kids away. It's gone on for a little while before the children are removed from the home. And what I believe is let's go in the home and if we can see what the issue is, we can see the problem with the parents and the children. Okay, so I want to see and something I've worked on, it's in the legislation, let's start working on what's going on in the family. Okay, because if we can help the family come back together and be whole, maybe the children don't have to leave. Okay, and I think that's important because as soon as they leave, as soon as we pull them out, that's trauma. Okay, so, and I don't care which kid you are, you're going to suffer some trauma because those are your parents, and now you're taken out, and your loyalty is going to be with your parents. Now I know that's not always going to work as far as maybe we can't fix all these families, but if we can go in and identify the issue and start working on making this family whole, as long as the children are safe, and I really encourage keeping them there and helping the family become whole. So the number one reason we take our children out is what the department tells me, is probably due to a drug or alcohol or some kind of an addiction, substance abuse. So if we can move in there and immediately start helping that family with those issues, an adult that has a substance abuse problem, and I can get them into a treatment center of some kind or help them to overcome that, okay? And we can keep that family whole, then I think we're making headway, because will the family be perfect? No, but I don't know that any family is perfect, okay? But if we can help them do that, then I think we're on track. Instead of pulling the children out and waiting for the family to get their stuff back together, and maybe that goes on 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, and then the damage and more damage and more damage. So I want to go upstream. Let's see how we can fix the problem if we can. And I know we can't always, but I think there are times when maybe we could. If we can go upstream, help the family become whole again, then we're going to do our children a better service, and as well as the people in the state. I think we're doing them the service that we need to be doing, and only become the parent at the last resort.
Yeah. So I hope the new department, the way that it's put together, tackles all of those things in the way that you just said. Well, I really want to thank you again. I think, this campaign has changed the story, and you are a prime example of how to do that. And you bring hope to the fostering community, and you have made change. And we from Fostering Change want to thank you so much.
Oh, well, you're welcome. It's a passion,
Yeah.
I do. I care for our young folks, and I want you to know that I'm here if you want me to. I'm here to visit with them and to listen and to help as much as I can, because I want to see it change. And
thank you so much. And note taken, everybody. Go talk to your state legislators. Okay, bye.